you so much for joining us and returning to the Awaken Your Potential Summit. Today, I am so excited to have Patti Allen with us, and she is a recognized dream expert and sought-after consultant and speaker. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm fascinated by dreams, and Patti dedicates her life to soul work and guiding others to use their dreams to access the innate wisdom that we all have within us. She holds a master's degree in humanities from York University, where her focus was on dream healing in ancient Greece. So it's very interesting to see how she combines many of the things she does, including soul coaching and gateway dreaming and all of these courses that she does with her varied background in education and healing arts and public speaking and writing. And she brings all of that to the table today, where we will discuss dangerous dreaming and maybe what that entails. So thank you so much for being with us today, Patti. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me, Kym.
Yeah. Well, let's start off with the question, how did you get into the study of dreams in the first place?
I think I'm a little bit like you and everyone else that is just so curious about their dreams. But when I was doing my training in Rubenfeld Synergy, which is a integrative body-centered kind of work, where we're getting our own issues and stuck places out of the way so that we can help other people. So it was during that time, while I was having my own sessions, that my dream life just became very vibrant, and it did not want to be ignored. And I was very curious, what was going on. So I took my dreams to my synergists, which is what our practitioners are called. And because this work is grounded in Gestalt therapy, it really didn't matter what your dream meant. What mattered was how you feel about your dream. And this was very important, because if we don't deal with our emotions, we're not dealing with the whole picture of who we are. But I wasn't satisfied with just knowing how I felt about the dream. I also wanted to know what it meant. So I read every book I could get my hands on dreams. I did that for years and years. And when I finally decided, I better go back and get a master's, where I live in Ontario, Canada, but there are very few places except in California where you can get a degree in dreams. So I did the next best thing. I went into humanities, where I had to have professors who could cover me, who knew my subject. And as luck would have it, or synchronicities, there were two professors who were just perfect for the job. One was an expert in ancient Greece, and one was a medical historian who was just offering a course in dreams. And it was perfect. So that's how I got started, both personally and academically.
That's great. Were there I'm just curious if there was a pivotal point in that process where maybe the content of your dreams spurred you on to study it, or maybe was it just the concept of dreaming as a whole?
I don't think there's a dream worker out there, an author or anyone who makes this their work, who at some point wasn't interested in their own dreams. Excuse me. So I think what happened for me was, I can't say there was one dream, but there were so many dreams, and I could, by writing them down and keeping track of them, I could see the patterns emerging. And I'm really big on patterns. My brain works that way. And I can see when a pattern shifts, and that's where my curiosity gets piqued and what's going on. And early dreams, very emotional, things were exploding. There were fires and floods and earthquakes in my dreams. And as I did more and more of my work, I got to a level of dreaming that was much more spiritual. So there would be a lot of psychic phenomenon in my dream. And then one dream where there was no visual at all, just one word, well, I should say no audio at all. There was one word that I could see as if it was typed in front of me, white letters on a black screen. And that certainly was a very important dream for me. The dream, in a nutshell, was the word evokement. Now, there's no word evokement, but the way it was spelled, E-V-O-C-M-E-N-T, I knew it came from the root of voce, for voice in Latin. And I knew evokement would mean to bring forth by using my voice. I had to find my voice. So that was definitely an important dream for me.
That's really interesting. Well, they are varied, that's for sure, with dreams. So sometimes they're frightening. They can be wild or hilarious. Sometimes they're just creative or intriguing. Very, very, very different.
They are.
And it seems like a lot of times we just dismiss it, saying, oh, it was just a dream. Is that a problem?
It really is, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of other dream workers too. In our world, and maybe it's in the era of the last century of science, where things that could not be measured or proved were dismissed as not real and therefore not valid. And it's a real loss for generations of dreamers. If I could advise parents when their kids wake up with a bad dream, to never say the words, "It was only a dream, go back to sleep," then I will have done my work. My job would be done. Because children know on some level, and adults, if we'll let ourselves get to this point, but kids intuitively know that dream felt very real. It changed their physiology. They could wake up in a sweat, their heartbeat is racing, they're petrified. To tell them it's not real is to invalidate their experience. So when we say it's only a dream, we're saying that we don't believe you. A better way to answer a child is, tell me what you dreamt about. Let me hear the dream. If there's a boogeyman under the bed, let's look. Take a flashlight. Nope, there's nothing there. You're safe. So the child gets to be heard and reassured. The kids know, everybody knows intuitively what's a dream and what isn't. But to say it's only a dream dismisses their experience. So if we could eliminate those words, I'd be a very happy camper.
Well, I agree. Not just dismissing it for kids, but even as adults, if we just dismiss that's a third of our lives that we're spending, asleep and oftentimes in a dreaming state. Mm-hmm. And that's very real for us, regardless of the age, I would think.
It is, and a lot of adults just don't let themselves think that way because we've been conditioned. And that's why I call this dangerous dreaming, because if we really are courageous in our lives, if we really want to do things differently, to make changes, to not always be on automatic pilot, we can look at our dreams, learn from them, and make choices, sort of informed choices, because now we're informed about ourselves. So dreams give us information about ourselves, unconscious material moving forward so that we can be aware and conscious of it. Sometimes we get psychic information. We get visits from deceased loved ones. We get information that we have no way of knowing. Sometimes you just dream about someone and then they call you the next morning, that kind of stuff. If we don't delve into that, we're living our lives, in my opinion, on automatic pilot. So for some people, this feels dangerous. Some people say to me, "Oh, I never dream." And they seem really satisfied with that statement. I never dream. Well, the fact is, all human beings, all mammals do dream. And we know this for a fact. And when people are saying I don't dream, they're just saying I don't remember my dreams. But depending on what comes next in the conversation, some people make it very clear that they don't want to remember their dreams. So there are dreamers and there's everyone else, even though we all dream. But the dreamers are the ones who are willing to look and see. It's like the old story, the myth of Pandora's box. Originally in ancient Greece, it was a jar. It wasn't a box. But in Pandora's box, do you lift up the lid and see what's in there? Do you let your curiosity be a part of your exploration in life? Dreamers are willing to do that. And it's only dangerous if you want to stay the same. If you want to stay the same in your life and not change anything and not rock the boat and not know anything more about yourself than what the tip of the iceberg shows you, then you probably won't want to explore your dreams. I happen to think they're a lot of fun. Even the scary ones can be fun. And so that's the kind of people that are willing to be these dreamers. They're not willing to say it was only a dream.
So let's say I'm someone who says, I can't remember my dreams, which actually isn't true. I remember my dreams very vividly. But
Okay.
if I'm someone who can't remember my dreams but wants to start in that direction, I want to say, okay, I'm ready to look, I'm ready to listen, I'm ready to see what they mean, or dive into them and be open to what they might mean. How can, is there a way to maybe check that out or go into that?
Yep, there is. And I'll talk more about it later, but for just the beginning, for those who are starting, some simple habits around going to bed and waking up, I share with everybody because they work. And so if someone's heard me before, it's just a good reinforcement and reminder. But if you set the intention, that's going to get you started. So you do that by saying, I really want to remember my dreams. Put a journal next to your bed. It doesn't matter whether it's an iPad or a journal or a scrap of paper, although eventually you'll want to have it in a book form, a notebook form to remember and sort of keep them all together. But put a journal next to your bed with a pen or a pencil. A pen light, the kind you can get in some medical supply stores where you can write in the dark with it, is also helpful if you have a partner. Write down a few notes of your day, especially anything that had strong emotional content, and go to sleep, reinforcing in your mind, I will remember my dreams, I will remember my dreams, and so on. You fall asleep, and when you wake up in the morning, or during the night, whenever you wake up, don't move. Don't hop out of bed. It's better if you can do this without an alarm, because an alarm often jars us right out of that delicate dream space. And if we have to then move to shut off the alarm, that physical movement shifts it even further. So wake up gently. One of my students in my dream groups used to wake up with talk radio on. So what that did was the minute she was conscious, she was hearing somebody else's conversation, and it was impossible. She never remembered her dream. And when the radio goes off, it gives you a much gentler re-entry. So when you wake up, stay where you are in bed. If you wake up on your side, stay on your side. And just ask yourself, where was I just now? What was I dreaming? Sometimes you won't get a storyline, especially if you're new to dream catching. You may only get a sense, something about my mother, something like that. You may get a memory of the dream in the form of various senses. You might remember a smell. You might remember a sound. It's not always a cognitive storyline that you can write down. Whatever you catch, whatever you remember, whatever you sense, just write that down. Even if it begins as simple as the color purple. Write it down. And do that day after day. You will find that with good habits of waking and with intention, a dream can be caught pretty quickly. Things that get in the way are children, animals, pets, You have a cat walking on your head, or the dog is sleeping with you and has to get up and be walked. All of that will interfere with dream life, which is not to say you shouldn't have kids or pets. I've had both, and it's a phase of life that does pass. What you can do is, if you have a willing partner, ask for a morning to yourself where your partner will take the kids and give them breakfast or whatever, where you don't have to get up. There are always going to be some challenges. If you hit menopause, you're throwing the covers on, you're throwing the covers off. You're in a sweat, or you're going to the bathroom 12 times during the night. All of these things are challenges. But in the end, if the dream message is really important, you're going to remember it.